Pretty impressive for me. I mean, anytime you hold the ball for 36 minutes against a team like the Baltimore Ravens, who are one of the best defenses in the National Football League, you have to be impressed by what they're able to do and being able to have the level of balance on the offensive side of the ball. James Conner, another 100-yard rushing performance. But I think the most important thing to keep in mind right here is Big Ben not turning the football over. When Big Ben doesn't have those turnovers, he puts that offense in a really good situation. They were able to sustain drives, 10 of 16 on third down, and three of what was that? 3 or 4 in the red zone? Yeah. I mean, when you look at the Baltimore Ravens offense, they were 1 of 4 in the red zone. Joe Flacco missed 2 opportunities, one where he just didn't even look at Lamar Jackson. He was wide open. I don't know if that's Flacco not seeing him or him just hating on Lamar Jackson. And then there was another red zone trip.
There it is. I mean, Lamar's wide open. He throws out the back of the end zone.
Wide open. I don't understand what he's doing. And then the throw to Michael Crabtree is one that he's just got to hit when he's got him in a one-on-one situation. Joe Flacco came up small in those moments, and Mike Tomlin talked about that being the difference in that game, because rather than it being a 14-14 game at halftime, it was 14-6. The Steelers come out and they score a touchdown on their opening drive, and that's all she wrote. That was an insurmountable lead. That was enough for the Steelers to get it done on the road in the division.
Now, Canty, I haven't asked you this question, but how much is this is not about this stat sheet and everything, because you've been part of this rivalry.
Yep.
How much of it is just about style? We're better than them. There's a certain way we want to play when it gets to November that the Pittsburgh Steelers want to play, that Ben was able to do. Grit, toughness, almost got knocked out of the game a couple times, came back in there. How much of your analysis of Ben are those type of things? Because you've been on Baltimore's side, and you know what it takes to win and lose these games.
Yeah, well, you know you're going to get punched in the mouth. And, I mean, both teams, they're mirror images of each other. They want to do things the same way. And I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers out-executed the Baltimore Ravens in all 3 phases of the game. So, yeah, even though Zadarius Smith knocked out Big Ben and looked like a scary moment because he came down on his shoulder, it was just him getting the wind knocked out of him. Josh Dobbs comes in, throws a completion, and guess what? Roethlisberger's coming back off the sideline again. So, I mean, that's impressive to me to realize that your quarterback is going to take that kind of shot and respond that way.
And it was impressive to me that Tomlin had the faith in Dobbs. 2nd and 20, drop back from your own end zone. Let's go ahead and especially once you know, oh, Big Ben could be coming back in. Most coaches in that spot would say, well, the last thing I want is for my backup quarterback being here for
and it's
one
not
play.
Third down where he was forced.
Right.
Nick, you can't afford it in that kind of game. You can't coach that kind of game conservatively.
Right.
That is a rivalry game. There are no state secrets. They all know each other. So I thought it was important that Mike Tomlin be aggressive in his play calling throughout the game.
Agreed, but I just know a lot of coaches wouldn't. A lot of coaches there are doing either a screen pass, a draw play, hand off to Connor, see when Ben can come back, because they had the lead at that point. Like, that was showing that faith. And the reason I want to bring it up is I know we're going to talk about Harbaugh in a second, but we can't do this to Mike Tomlin. That when they're 1-2-1, Mike Tomlin's on the hot seat. Has he lost the locker room? What's wrong with the Steelers? And when they win 4 in a row, we don't talk about him. And I'm using the we generically. I'm not talking about, like, Mike Tomlin has proven year after year he's one of the best coaches in this league. This year, much like last year, they don't have a great start to the season. We can blame some of that on Le'Veon Bell, some of that on Big Ben, some of that on the head coach, obviously. But the last month, they've been excellent. And the last month, that defense, the defense, which we said, man, they never got over Ryan Shazier's injury. On the 4-game winning streak, defense, 17, 21, 18, 16 points allowed. The defense all of a sudden got better. The offense with James Conner has been very good. Antonio Brown's always going to be Antonio Brown. And the Steelers look like what they're supposed to look like, which is the best team in the AFC North.
What have you seen change in this 4-game win streak?
Well, I think defensively, their front 7 is stepping up. Well, I know that they've had issues on the back end of that defense, but to me, if Cam Hayward and Stephon Tuitt come to play, I mean, you're probably looking at 2 of the best 3-4 bookends in the National Football League, and those guys are the ones that set the tone. That's how you hold the Baltimore Ravens offense to only 61 yards rushing, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. They made them one-dimensional. They put it on Joe Flacco, and guess what? Joe Flacco wasn't able to produce for them, and for a guy that you're paying $20+ million per year on a contract, you would like to get more production from that position, especially in this game, because you're fighting for your playoff life if you're the Baltimore Ravens.
You talk about Mike Tomlin and speculation at times of him being on the hot seat. Well, after the game, John Harbaugh addressed rumors about his job security. Take a listen.
I haven't seen that. You know, I don't know. I've never been somebody that ever worried about keeping a job. You know, it's always been for me doing the job. And you know, I've got a bunch of great coaches and a bunch of great players that bust their tails every single day to do the best job they can. And I feel really good about the way this team has been coached for the last 11 years and for the last number of weeks that we've been in this season. So no regrets. Never been any regrets here with me. So we'll keep fighting, and that's what we do.
Chris, what do you think? Should Harbaugh be on the hot seat?
Well, I'll say this. I think he is on the hot seat. They've lost 4 of their last 5, and this is an organization that has not been in the postseason since I was a part of that team, and that's been a little while now. That's been a minute. So, I mean, for a team that expects to be in the playoff conversation every single year, for you to have that extended absence from qualifying for the postseason, I think that's putting John Harbaugh in a tough position. And then when you consider what's happening at the top of the hierarchy in the organization, the handoff from Ozzie Newsome to Eric DeCosta, when the organization's turning it over to a new general manager, it might create a natural opportunity for them to transition away from John Harbaugh and give Eric DeCosta the head coach of his choosing.
I can't say if John Harbaugh is or isn't on the hot seat. I haven't done any reporting on that, obviously. What I can say is he shouldn't be. I can say that I believe the Ravens have achieved the most they could achieve since that playoff game in 2014 when you guys made the AFC Championship game with Joe Flacco as their quarterback. They have had by
AFC
every
divisional game.
AFC divisional game. They have had by every quarterback metric, one of the least productive quarterback positions over the last 5 years. This year, post week 1, Flacco's 9 touchdowns, 6 picks, a sub-80 quarterback rating. In the 2018 NFL, that's like a 60 rating in years past. And the playoff drought, while it's accurate, what's also true is this. With 10 seconds left in last season, the Ravens were in the playoffs. It took that Andy Dalton miracle that put Buffalo in, knocked Baltimore out. So it's not like they had been bottoming out. I think John Harbaugh is a very good coach. I think he is getting the most out of the roster. I think he's very limited at quarterback. I wouldn't, if I'm Baltimore, no matter who the GM with DeCosta, I wouldn't want to move on from John Harbaugh, who to me is a known quantity at head coach.
Yeah, I think it would be a mistake if they moved on from Harbaugh. I believe Harbaugh is a good coach. I believe he's also a leader of men. Well, why is that important? In the NFL, it's very important. It's very important that you can manage the personalities that you're going to have. And there's no avoiding the personalities. New England, they got personalities too. But they put them personalities on the back burner because they know that Bill Belichick. If they fire him, the Cleveland Browns should be the first team to call. Now, imagine Harbaugh. He's got a quarterback. I believe with Dorsey, the general manager, they would be able to get this team to a playoff type of team with that defense that they have. See, I have faith in Harbaugh. Y'all can say what you want about the Harbaughs, but man, their dad raised some coaching. Them dudes can coach some football. They know football. They have a passion for football, and their ability to be able to teach it at a high level, I think we should respect that. Mike Tomlin, they disrespect him all the time. Harbaugh, they disrespect him all the time. Let me know when he has a team that's losing to people that are inferior to him.
Right.
All right? When I see that, you're losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers with Ben Roethlisberger. All right? That's a respectable loss right there. So Baltimore, slow down. You got a lot going on with Ozzie Newsome. Keep the coach that you do have, because there's no guarantee that you will get better.
Chris Canty, we're keeping you right here. Coming up, how was Drew